I just got back in my largest order from CGC in over a year. Stay tuned as we open up this box and find out what did I order and what grades did I get. Welcome back, comic book fans. It's Rusty again with Collector Auctions, and today I've got yet another CGC unboxing for you, and this one's a big one. We've got, I think, 12 or 13 books in here. I'm not really sure, and it is a vintage order. So we got some good old books in here. I don't know how we did. Some of these are going to be for the PC, and some of these are definitely going to be for sale, depending on the grades. So we're going to open this up right now. We're going to find out how I did and what grades did I get. I'm really a little apprehensive on this. I seem to have been having some pretty good luck with modern books recently, even some of the older modern books from the early 80s and things like that. I've been doing pretty good with that, but this is definitely the biggest order that I've had in a long time, probably since last fall when I sent in books for another vintage order that was probably about 9 or 10 books at the Baltimore Comic-Con. Well, I finally got around to getting some of my vintage books into CGC. We'll see how we did. All right, guys, let's get the knife. Let's open this up and we'll see how it did. But this is going to take a few minutes to unpack this, so I'll probably fast forward for some of this. So stay tuned and we'll be right back. All right, guys, so inside we've got these new bubble enclosures, and I think there's at least 2 in here. So what I'm going to do is unpack each of these, put the books to the side, try to avoid the grades, because unlike some of my previous CGC unboxing in the last few episodes, I did not look at the grades on this one. So this is going to be a complete shock to me, so you're going to get my honest reaction to this today. So let me see if I can get these books over here without revealing the grade to myself. All right, guys, I've got everything set up here. I've got the books sitting right in front of me. I will take them out of the bags. That's been one of my biggest complaints about a lot of YouTubers these days, is that they will not take the books, the CGC slabs, out of the bags when they show you the books. It's so hard to see the great art, and I really want to see those books. So that is my one piece of advice to any other YouTuber doing CGC unboxings. Take the bags off the books when you present it. So let's start with that. And I was just noticing, let's see if we can straighten up this just a little bit. Yeah, there we go. All right, so we got a classic right here. It is Submariner #1. And guys, I do not have values on this today. I will try to put values of these grades, whatever we get, up on the screen after I do the editing onto the show. But so I won't get into those values at this point, but let's see what we did on this Submariner #1. If I recall, I ended up picking up this from a couple years ago even. These books have been around in the PC for a while. It took me a while to get these into the shop and to clean and press. So it's been a while, but I think I got this from Heritage Auctions. Let's see how we did. 6.5. I don't really know if I have any thoughts on that. Honestly, it's one of those where some of these I knew were going to definitely be in those mid-range grades. They're definitely in that. And there's some I think I'm expecting a little bit higher. This is one that I didn't necessarily expect it to be much higher, to be honest with you. So I don't have any feelings one way or the other than that. 6.5, pretty good. Let's take a quick look at it. Off-white, the white pages. It presents really nice. And I will also try to put grader's notes on this as well. To be honest with you, I'm looking at it right here, and probably a 6.5 seems a little bit more harsh, although I'm seeing some rippling right in here that if I'd gone back, maybe I got some revision, because I know I pressed these pretty good. But we'll see what the revision or what the grader's notes are, and I'll put that up on the screen as well. So 6.5 on that. Let's see what's next. Even I don't remember what's all in this order at this point. Oh, this is a good one, and this is probably one I expected to be a little bit higher. We'll see. Not super high, but it's still a nice Golden Age book. It is the oh, I'm sorry. I was thinking it was one of the others. It's Showcase. Which one is this? Number 73. This is the first appearance of the Creeper. And I kind of got on a kick a couple years ago. I was picking up the first appearance of the Creeper. I was picking up his first book, things like that. But the market has really just tanked since then. Again, this is another book I think I picked up on Heritage Auctions a couple years ago. Sorry, guys, it does take me a while to get some of these books in. I have other projects, especially when we have signature signing events, that it takes me a while to get those books. I take care of those books first before I get some of these books into the shop. So let's see how we did on showcase number 73 right here. 6.5. Maybe a little lower than I expected. I don't really recall. There definitely was a thing right here. There was some ink mark right up there. You can see it by my finger. But we'll see. We'll see what the value is on something like that, and we will move on. It's not a keeper. I didn't buy that as a book to necessarily have in the PC for any longer than until I sold it. I do enjoy having that book, but it's definitely one that will be for sale for a super collector of the Creeper. All right. Speaking of the Creeper, I didn't realize I had this in here. I just mentioned it. It is Beware the Creeper #1. And I love this Dicto cover. I love this one more than the showcase cover, to be quite honest with you. I really love this cover. I'd had this as an 8.5 that I bought straight up, I think, from Comic Link a few years ago. And then I ended up selling that when I bought this raw. This is one of those raws I thought was better than an 8.5. But so far in this order, I feel like I'm getting judged a little hard. We'll see what we did. 8.5. I guess I stepped right back into it. 8.5 is not a bad grade. For me, when I started getting into some of the older vintage books that I wanted graded in my PC and talking about affordability, 8.5s for me were a very nice grade for some of the Silver Age 60s books, because some of these books were very affordable at that. If you start going above that too much, especially you get to a 9.2 or a 9.4, they were getting a lot more expensive, more money than I was willing to put in for a book that I enjoy, but I didn't necessarily really covet as much as I just really liked it. But an 8.5 was a very safe grade, a very affordable grade, a very collectible grade. So 8.5, again, we'll put grader's notes and the price, what the value, fair market value of that is as well. All right, 3 down. We'll do a count at the end. I'm not sure if it was 12 or 13 books. Let's see what we got. Ooh, this is going to be an interesting one. We'll see how we did. And this is a book I picked up a couple years ago when I was down at Trinity Comics down in Norfolk, Virginia. And I remember going through their bins, and I did a show on that shop where I picked up a lot of great books. And I remember buying this book, and I remember talking to the owner, and they had actually got it back from CGC. They were not happy with the grade, and they told me what they had gotten. And I'm like, I don't see how they got that unless it's obviously something I've really missed. I mean, maybe there's a water stain, maybe there's something like that. And the hope was I was going to do definitely a lot better than a 6.5. Fingers crossed. This was more of a PC book. When I bought this, it was definitely a PC book. I was going through this phase where I was like, which Spider-Man books do I really want for my PC? I wasn't collecting all of them, but there were certain books I really wanted. And this, along with another ASM book that's kind of similar in this section right here, were ones that I wanted for the PC. Now, this one has fallen down a little bit in my collecting abilities. I've definitely, if this grade is good enough, I may probably sell it, but we'll see what it is. Let's see how we did. Okay, a little bit better than that 6.5 that Trinity Comics got. Not sure what the value is. I'll be quite honest, some of these, at this point, my guess is when I do the values, the fair market values, the grade's going to definitely, the prices or those are definitely going to be a little bit lower. We watched the market come down, so we'll see where these stand. 7.5 is not horrible. It does present beautifully, though. What a great book. Again, grader's notes coming up. We'll find out what I might have missed or what we're getting judged on right there. I would have sworn that was an 8.5 all day. All right, another Silver Age book, and it led right into that Submariner #1. It is Iron Man and Submariner #1, that one issue in between the Tales to Astonish, Tales of Suspense, into Iron Man 1 and Submariner #1. And again, another Heritage Auctions. I went through a phase a couple years ago where I'd stopped buying graded books for the most part, but I was picking up what I felt were like high-grade, good value books off of Heritage. And so far, the rolls that I've picked up from Heritage so far definitely have not graded out quite as much as I would like. But this book right here, I'm definitely thinking we're going to be in that 6.5 range again. I could be surprised, but hopefully it won't be much lower than that. There we go, 6. This is where we are on these. And maybe this is part of my learning curve on the vintage books, especially the Silver Age books. Maybe I look at them and I think they're much better than they really are. I'm probably going to have to educate myself a lot better on Silver Age books at this point. But again, this is a very presentable book, very nice looking book. Off-white to white pages. The spine is a little rough and is definitely, I think there's a, I'm looking here on the back. There is some, I mean, they were definitely cleaned, but you got to be careful with these older books like this. And it's a little rougher here than everything. Staples are fully attached, but a little bit rough. Not bad. Again, Graders Notes and fair market value coming up. All right. We're about halfway through at this point. Okay, now this is a book a little bit more modern, still considered vintage. This right here is Mr. Miracle #1, and I'm going to guarantee that I overpaid for this. I don't remember what it was, but I know I overpaid for this because by the time I actually got it in the CGC, assuming that I could get the grade I kind of wanted, it was definitely not even worth what I paid at that point. I kind of wanted to get this graded for the PC or to maybe sell it and get out of it and just kind of move on and try to find a better copy. I'm not expecting much on this book. Let's see how we did. Yeah, kind of what I expected on this book. It definitely was a little rougher than when I bought it, and sometimes when you buy online, you don't get to see as much of the defects as you would like, especially when you just have 2 flat photos. So this one is what it is. This one's definitely going to be for sale. I think I will keep this in the PC for a little bit. I love the Jack Kirby early Mr. Miracle, the Forever People, all those books at the very beginning of that run, those runs, Commande, things like that. And this is the first time I've ever owned this book, but a little disappointed. The other ones I'm not as much disappointed on. I was just hoping for better. This one I'm a little disappointed on. All right. This is an interesting book I picked up at Cards, Comics, and Collectibles in Reisterstown, Maryland, probably last Thanksgiving, where they had their big sale where they had all their premium books 30% off. And I picked this up. It was kind of stepping into EC Comics a little bit. It's Frontline Combat number 10, I believe. Yeah, and not the biggest, obviously, not even close to any kind of key for an EC comic, but I thought this quality was pretty good. But I'm going to tell you right now that without seeing the grade, I'm going to tell you, because there was a spot on the back. I didn't really inspect it as well as I should have in the shop when I bought it. There was a little hole in the back cover. It's going to knock it down. I'm hoping we're falling in that 7.75 range. I would hope for better. I thought it presented better, but we'll see what we did. Hey, we got an 8.0. That's actually a little better than I expected at this point, especially with the little spot on the back. Yeah, I did a pretty good job of smoothing it out, but I can't see it right now. But this presents really well. I did not buy this for the PC. I bought that for a resale, so somebody may really like that as an 8.0. Okay, this is a keeper because, as you can see in the back or behind my head, if you can see it, I'm a big fan of Scrooge McDuck and even Donald Duck, and I bought this right here. It is Donald Duck number 26, one of those famous stories by Carl Barks. It's the Trick or Treat issue. Great story. I bought this at the Baltimore Comic Con a couple of years ago. Actually, I didn't buy it. I traded some graded books for some rolls from I believe Dave's Comics. Dave Burba, I believe, is the dealer. And I traded and this is one of the books I ended up getting. And this is a PC book. I'm not too much worried about the grade. It's definitely a little rougher and everything, but I don't care because this was a PC. Let's see what we did. 5.5, I'm okay with that. Doesn't bother me a bit. The back definitely had some wear and it was probably a little dirtier. There's definitely spine ticks here, but putting this into the press really makes this really presentable, and I'm just happy to have a book like this. This is so cool. I've kind of gone down this road of mostly Scrooge McDuck, but some of these books like this right here with Donald Duck, some of the famous stories, I absolutely love those things, and I'm happy to have that. 5.5 does not bother me a bit, but again, I will give you Grader's notes and fair market value on that as well, if you're ever interested in a book like that. All right, going back to another book from Heritage Auctions from a couple years ago, and remember I said there were several books. In fact, I'm thinking about this order, and there's several, these Spider-Man in here are books that I wanted for the PC when I handpicked maybe half a dozen to a dozen of ASM's what books do I really want in my PC? And this is one of them. It's Spider-Man 33, probably one of the most famous Steve Ditko Spider-Man stories, Stan Lee. And probably this is the book that sets the standard for Spider-Man and his abilities. He's not the most powerful superhero, but he overcame and just the struggle that he overcame to save Aunt May in this. And it was just great. This was a little bit rougher. The back definitely had some aging and some yellowing, and it was a lot rougher than I expected. But this is a PC book for me, and let's see. I'm hoping it doesn't drop below a 5, but we'll see. There we go. Got a 5 on that, and I don't know if I could have expected any better. This back was definitely soiled. I've got, well, the staples are okay, but there's definitely some wear, and because of the alignment of the staples, I couldn't press the back quite as well as I would like, because it's not really at the spine, it's kind of on the back right there. So, got some spine ticks on the front. I don't really care. This is a great book. This doesn't bother me a bit. I mean, yeah, if this kid jumped up to a 7 or an 8, I would have been shocked, and I would have been jumping up and down, and you would have seen the excitement. But I am not disappointed on this. So this is really nice. The nice PC book. Although that book just moved in there, so that's a little concerning. All right, guys, we are down to 3 books. I still don't remember what else is here. I know that there's one I thought I was going to show you because I thought I recognized the back. I think it came out at the same time as around some of those Showcase and Creeper books earlier. But this right here, let's see if I can find it. Yeah. There it is. This one I thought was higher grade. I thought it was really good. Now, during this video, I'm definitely finding that I'm overestimating my Silver Age books by a lot. I will have to adjust that. Again, I will have to educate myself a lot better. But this was a really nice book from Heritage Auctions. It is Secret Six #1. Got this really cool cover of the card coming through the billboard. And I was a big fan of when they reinvented the Secret Six as well, Villains United, and it turned it into the new Secret Six in the early 2000s, and it ran for a lot of years. Gail Simone was writing that with Dale Eaglesham to begin with, and then other artists after that when it became the Secret Six. I love that. This, for me, I know this didn't have anything to do with them, but it definitely brought back memories of some of the books I really loved from the 2000s, and I thought this was a good value on Heritage Auctions. So let's see how we did. This is a book that I didn't mind picking up, but I definitely bought it because I thought it would be good investment to return. At this point, I have no idea what the value is, but hey, let's look at the grade first. Oh my God, that is fantastic. Wow. I mean, sometimes, a clock is, I think I just said, my wife would hate that. Sometimes a clock is right twice a day. And maybe today, this is me being the clock, and I hit something really good on this. I chose wisely. I'm Indiana Jones, guys. I chose wisely, at least on this one. 9.6, no idea what the grade's going to be. This is a nice book. Really nice book. Wow, that is super cool. Man, I should have saved that for the end. That would have been a good ending. But great on that book. To be quite honest, I was hoping that the Spider-Man 62 with Medusa, I was hoping that would have been the book that would have shocked me. All right, 2 more books left, and I actually will count how many of these were. All right, this was, again, another Heritage Auctions pickup. I think what happened was I finally got tired of having all these books sitting there, knowing that I had put all this money into a lot of Heritage Auction books. And it's been a while, again, it's been a couple years on some of these. And they've been sitting there and really not, some of them I knew I was going to keep, but some of them not generating the income. They're just sitting there. And I put all this money out. Well, I got to do something with it. So I finally got off my ass, got them into the shop. This was one of them, and I've had this book. I've got it raw on my PC. I've had it for many years, being a huge Avengers fan. This is issue number 59, the first appearance of Hank Pym as Yellow Jacket. Of course, you don't know that in this issue. That's not a reveal till you get to issue number 60, the wedding of Hank and Janet Pym. Well, Janet Pym after she's married, Janet Van Dyne. But this right here, introduction, first appearance of Yellow Jacket, John Buscema artwork. Love this. This is one of my favorite issues. It's a weird cover with this kind of weird pop art kind of background, bullseye type of thing. That's not too cool, but still a great issue. I loved this issue as a kid. It came right after we had the Vision. Roy Thomas brought the Vision into the Avengers and stuff. So I thought this was a good book. We'll see how it did. Again, I'm not going to keep saying the same thing over and over again. Let's see what we did. 9.2. Not too shabby. I cannot wait to see what the value on this is. 9.2, at this point, the way things are being graded today, I thought this would have dropped down to an 8.5 at this point. But not bad. This came out probably in that range. You know, me, I would have liked for a 9.4 or 9.6, but I knew that this had a little bit of wear, especially on the spine. That red around the spine actually can pick up a tick really quickly. Couldn't be happier with, I could be happier. But really happy with this right here. Let's take a look at this. Yeah, for some of the wear, the corner down here has a little bit of wear. There's a spine tick right there. Back looks fantastic. Yeah, the grader's notes on this will be kind of interesting. I mean, to be quite honest, I think that a couple of those earlier books looks just as good as this. And those got knocked down a lot. So what that makes me want to do is now take some of these lower grade Silver Age books that I thought were a little bit better, compare it to this, and see what the differences is. The grader's notes will help, obviously, a lot, but it makes you kind of think about it a little bit. All right, guys, we are down to the last book, and this is definitely a keeper book. This was a book that was, when I set my goals out about 3 years ago, this was one of the books. It's a Spider-Man book. It's not a key. It is not a key at all. And it's funny, the ones that you already saw before, the issue 33 was a big key. 62 was not a key. It was just a cover. But this one's a little bit like issue number 62. And it's got one of my favorite Spider-Man villains. And it's mostly because of this cover and work that was done in the late 80s by Mike Zeck. And that should give you the clue as to the villain. And we're talking about Kraven the Hunter. And this is issue number 47. And for me, this was a keeper cover all the way. So whatever the grade is on this is a keeper. Not only because it's one of my favorite characters, one of my favorite covers of that character. I love this. The white cover, very reminiscent of that Medusa cover as well. This right here is actually a Pence version, and I didn't quite realize that when I picked it up from Heritage Auctions. I thought the grade was really good. I don't know if the price was down because it was a Pence version, but to be quite honest, when I put this on my list, and then I basically mistakenly bought this or won this on Heritage Auctions, and it found out, oh crap, it was a Pence version. It made it a little bit harder to look up true values. But then I started thinking about it. It's like, well, I'm not going to even entertain that. I will consider this just like the American copy, at least at the beginning, because if I can't find the Pence version pricing, I will at least give you the American pricing when I give the grading, give the fair market value. But at the moment, this is completely a PC copy. Let's see how we finish up today. Ooh, that's really good. Having a 9.0 on a fairly early Spider-Man book. Oh my God, that is great. That's actually, at this point, better than I thought I would get. This is great. Getting a 9.0. Boy, we finished out pretty strong today, didn't we, guys? Man, This is really good. UK price variant. Stan Lee story, John Romita cover and art, Craven appearance, Green Goblin cameo and flashback. What's funny is I'm looking here and I'm looking at definitely some spots where I would definitely clean it up a little bit more. I would put some more time. If I went back now and looked better at this, I definitely, there's a spot down here at the bottom, down here around the spine. I think I would have went back and tried to clean that a little bit better. Again, Graders Notes will be very helpful to see what I might have missed on this. But guys, that is it for today. You didn't see me get super excited except for that 9.6, but definitely some keepers in this and some books that are going to be available on my Shortbox page, or store, I should say, or my eBay page. I've got a store on there as well, so definitely check out the links below. I've got those links set up so you guys can go right there and pick up and offer on whatever you would like if you see anything that's interesting to you. You can always reach out to me at collectorauctions@yahoo.com as well. That's probably one of the easiest ways to get in touch with me. But guys, I had a great time today. Thank you for being with me. If you enjoyed today's episode, definitely give me a like, slap the subscribe, and click on that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of the episodes that I put out each and every week, 3 p.m., Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. All right, guys, I'm out of here. Oh, before I run, definitely leave me a comment below and let me know what you think of the books that I picked up. If you like these books, are these in your PC? I would love to know. All right, guys, that's it for the sales job. I'm out of here. I will see you for the next show. Just remember, every comic has a story.